Test, test, test. Hey guys, can you let me know if you can hear me? Can someone please comment in the comment section if they can hear me properly? Thank you. Just give it a couple minutes and I'll start. Okay, let me get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically go over my experience at MUA. Feel free to post questions and post them as I go along, and then I'll answer them all at the end. Yeah. So my name is Aaron Thind. I'm done my basic sciences at MUA. So I'm now here in Vancouver, British Columbia, studying for my STEP currently. My STEP I'll be writing probably at the end of November, so I have about 2 months to study for that. Um, yeah, so the first off, I'll start with I studied at UBC. I did a biology program there. That was my undergrad. And then after UBC, I had a decision to make between med schools. I was between SGU and MUA. And the reason I was between these two were because, well, SGU is supposed to be one of the best med schools, and then also MUA has um, like really good class sizes, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. I had also had a friend, one at MUA and one at SGU, so I was just between the two. So I applied to both, I got in at both, and ultimately I decided MUA. The biggest reasons probably for going with MUA were the small class sizes. The cadaver lab was huge to me, like the ability to be able to actually cut up a cadaver and experience that, because that's not really something you'd get at SGU. At SGU, for example, all they do is they dissect the cadavers for you, and then they have like little pins all over the structures, and you just go around and like name them. You can't really like handle them, can't really cut it or anything, so that wasn't that attractive to me. Um, the low price at MUA. MUA has, I think, the lowest tuition at most of the good med schools in the Caribbean, which is huge to me. Um, yeah, so eventually I decided to go to MUA, and then once I got to MUA, I started in September 2019. As soon as I got there, one of my friends was already there, and I moved in with him, and I basically pretty seamlessly was able to just join his schedule. And it was a pretty easy transition. Like the faculty was great. The other older students were great at like showing you around, and same with my friend. Um, so that was really really helpful. In my first semester is where it was kind of like a big shock because of how much work you do have to do in med school. Like it's not undergrad anymore. It's med school. It's the real deal. So you got to be prepared for that. But first semester was anatomy, histology, and clinical skills. Clinical skills one, and really I just like fell in love, especially with the teachers. The big draw for MUA again for me, and I realized this once I got there, was how much class time there was. I'm a huge auditory learner. I take a lot from class, and my ability to go to class, learn from these teachers made it so easy to really like to learn the material, and it's stuck. One teacher who really stuck out to me in Med 1 was Dr. Samir Anadkat. He's the anatomy course director, and the way that he like taught in the anatomy lab, taught in class, has stuck with me to this day. Anatomy is one of those subjects that it's very easy to forget. It's very easy to forget it because it's more rote memorization. So when I'm studying now for the step, I'm finding a lot of anatomy things that I'm forgetting just naturally. But anything that Samir taught really stuck really really well. So that was awesome to have. Um, yeah, so that was Med One. Basically, that was me getting to the island, getting to know everyone, getting to know the teachers. Um, in on the campus, like so, I'll just run you through like a normal day of class. So you basically get there at 8 a.m. You have class from 8 to 10. Anatomy is 8 to 10, and then histo was 10 to 12. Then you have lunch from 12 to 1, and from 1 to 3 histo again, and then 3 to 5 on alternating days you have the anatomy lab. So what I would do is I would work out at lunch actually, and then I would eat in between classes because otherwise I didn't really have much time to work out. Working out was huge for me. It was really like one of the biggest ways I could blow off steam, especially because like sitting all day, it gets you down. So you have to do something to move or be able to take your mind off of studying. It's like every once in a while. So yeah, that workout at lunch was huge for me. And the gym at MUA, when I first got to MUA, the gym was not very good. It was old, ratty equipment. But in my fourth semester, third semester actually, they had closed the gym down for a while because they're renovating it, and I was super happy to see that in Med 4. The gym was like pristine. The new equipment, the amount of weights they had, just the rubber flooring, it just looked great, and it was such a great place to go and again just take my mind off of studying. So that was cool. Med 2 was again like similar thing. You do IDR, you do which is infectious disease. I do biochemistry, genetics, and Med 2 just has like a great lineup of teachers. You have Dr. Pandya for genetics, Dr. Dow for biochemistry, Dr. Kumar for IDR, and it was again like just great. I'd go to class, learn what's in class from 8 to 5, come home. I'd review the things from that day in class, and then every weekend I would go over what I went through that week, and then every third week is the block exams. So in that third weekend, I'd review everything, um, basically for that block. So yeah, that's basically the basics of it. What really confirmed my decision to go to MUA and why I'm very happy having gone to MUA was the retention that I was able to maintain while in class. The class and lectures aren't particularly high yields. Well, no, they are very high yield. That's not true. But they just have a lot of information. But that's not, say, if you look at first aid compared to what's taught in class, it's not the same. First aid is like just the very, very small, minute details. But for me, I can't just learn minute details. The more that I learn, the more that I understand about the whole process, the more that I can really boil down um, um, and remember those details when it comes down to it. So, like, even to this day, I am studying for my step here and I'm remembering things when I'm reading them. I'm remembering my teacher saying something or something that a teacher pointed out or an exam question I had. So that's really helpful. But yeah, what else? On campus, yeah, there's one of my favorite spots actually in the Med 1 classroom and the Med 5 classroom. They intersect, and you have this balcony, and the balcony looks over the back of the island. It's on the Atlantic side, so there's a lot of waves coming all the time, and it's this big cliff, and then the water. And I would always just go out there in between classes, just like relax, hang out. It was one of my favorite spots, just to kind of clear my mind. The campus is really nice. The cafeteria was very there's like a minute walk from the main building, but cafeteria was good. I usually didn't eat at the cafeteria unless I had um, just personally I unless I had to didn't make food or something like that. A lot of my friends only ate at the cafeteria. Um, yeah, so most of the time what I would do is I would make food for the week. I'd prepare my food and I would just eat that every single lunch, and then I'd prepare dinner for the week as well and eat that at night. So yes, I was awarded the Dean of Basic Sciences Award. So that was given to me for the highest GPA at MUA in my class. Um, yeah, I would just kind of attribute that to the teachers, really. The teachers coming to class, paying attention, and then going home and studying hard. That is huge when it comes to med school. You don't really have time to kind of like screw around. It's like go go go. So if you're gonna go to med school, if you're looking to go into med school, be ready for it. But if you put in the work and you really study hard and pay attention and listen, you will do well. Okay. Yeah. What else is there? There's a couple grocery stores. The grocery store that I went to was in town. It's about a 15-minute drive. So I rented a car for it's like 400 US a month. I shared it with my friend. And then I would just go like once a week, usually on Saturday. Saturdays, I would just go make quick grocery trip out, take about an hour and a half, come back and load up on groceries for the week. There's a lot of nice restaurants on the island too. I would basically only go out every 3 weeks after the block exam, but again, it's completely up to you. Um, I would attribute my performance to staying on campus and just really staying focused and not doing too many extracurricular things, except for the required things that I needed to keep a balance in my life. I don't, am not one to be able to study 24/7. My friend who I was talking about, who was a couple semesters ahead of me, he actually, like, this kid was crazy. He used to study all the time, never took breaks. But I am a huge advocate for balance, working out. I meditate, things like that, just to take my mind off of studying, be able to get away from it sometimes. That's huge, and just hanging out with a couple of friends I've made there. That was always really nice. My strategies for studying, basically. So the way it works is that in class you're given a slide set for each lecture. So say in Med 1 or something, you have 2 hours of anatomy, 4 hours of histo. So you have 2 lectures of anatomy and then 4 lectures of histo. So that's those 6 lectures. I would listen in class, they'd go over the slides, then I'd come home, and then I would run through the lectures from front to back that day so that I would be able to like remember the things and quickly refresh what I had just learned that day. I would continue to do that all week. I would do the same thing every single day, every week, so that I am continuously refreshing and trying to retain and repeat information. Because the only way you can remember things is to have crazy repetition. There's no such thing as like you can have a good memory or whatever, but even with a good memory, you have to have a lot of repetition. So then I would do that for the week. The first weekend would come, and then I would review everything from that one week. Week 2 would then come, and then I would do the same thing every single day, review whatever came that day. Then the second weekend would come, and then I would review everything from all of the first week and all of the second week. And then third week would come, I do the same thing. Third weekend would come. The block exam would be the Tuesday after the third weekend. So in that third weekend, I would review everything from the first 3 weeks. This was huge for me. I really only stuck to the slides because when it comes to the block exams, the teachers are testing off of the material that they're teaching you and what's off of the slides. So that is your best bet to do that. Some of my friends use First Aid, some use Boards and Beyond. Like these are all great resources. Like I'm currently using Boards and Beyond and First Aid for my step studying. But when it came to class, I basically just stuck to that information and tried to get as much information as I could. A huge thing for me was that at the beginning of every semester, or sorry, at the end of every semester, you write a shelf exam, which is given by the National Board of Medical Examiners. So it's a standardized test rather than a school test. The mindset that you have to have going into each semester is that when you're learning information, you're learning it to write that exam. Because the questions on your school exams are actually easier than the questions on those NBME exams. Those NBME exams are hard and they're more representative of what the step will be and what the comp will be. So if you go into every single class thinking that you need to study hard enough to pass these exams, then that'll give you an advantage. Because if you're really just trying to pass the block exams and then you come to that shelf exam or even the comp exam, if you just pass the block exams, there's a very small possibility that you will pass those standardized exams because they're much harder. Yeah, what else was there? I really just love being on the island. It's a really great place to study. Nevis is such a small island, very quiet. Locals are very nice. There's a gas station close by. Sometimes I go for a run along the beaches or to the gas station. It's like a little convenience store. It has a little bit of grocery stuff here and there. Just the couple of they're hills, I guess, but Mount Nevis is it's a big mountain hill behind the school, and it's like in the middle. So by the end of the time there, you should definitely hike Mount Nevis. That is a thing you must conquer while you're in Nevis. Um, Sometimes on the third weekend, I would actually go to St. Kitts just for a quick trip, just go hang out for a little bit. That's also fun. There's Ross Vet School and a couple of med schools on St. Kitts. So there's a lot of students from there who also go and party, and then they have a party every once in a while, and then they'll like book a boat with a couple of friends and go over, party. You can either stay the night there or come back. It depends, but yeah, that was fun. So yeah, that's basically my whole experience at MUA. And are there any questions? Any questions about the school? Any questions about studying? Any questions about step, comp? It doesn't matter. Oh yeah. Um, well, every year the teachers will get get two or three TAs from the year before. So, for example, if I just finished Med 1, the Med 1 teachers would ask me to be a TA, and the TAs would hold TA sessions weekly. I never used TA sessions personally, but I was a TA, and it's a good place to come to students who did really well in the class before you. They know a lot. Basically, it's like 1 or 2 hours, or really however long you want. You can just ask them questions, or they will sometimes make a little presentation reviewing the things from the week. Um, that is especially in the class behind me, which another one of my friends TA'd for. Their class took big advantage of the TA sessions, and they found it really useful. The class that I was TAing personally did not use a TA session very much, but it just depends on the class and depends on you. If you really do need more help, if you want the help, then the TA sessions are useful. Also, the teachers, professors are very accommodating. They have office hours like once a day, but you just email them anytime if you want to go get some help or ask them a question, or even after class, you just ask them a question. That's they're there to help. And then there is a psychologist on campus, Dr. Samir's Anadkat's wife, Dr. Dolly Anadkat, and she is awesome. I never went to her, but we like would have discussions. She came in to teach us study tips, to teach us ways to deal with anxiety, things like that. Um, yeah, yeah. A really good support system at MUA because it's such a small school and there's such small class sizes. People want to be sure, or you can be sure that you will be supported regardless. If it's your friends or if it's teachers or TAs or actual professional help. Yeah, I would recommend uh, going to MUA personally for a student like myself, where that class size, the one-on-one is very important. The auditory learning is very important. It was huge for me. If you're like, yeah, I'm just not a very big fan of like huge lecture halls where like personal there's no personal relationship there. It's more just like they talk out loud and you're expected to listen. Here, teachers are constantly asking you questions, keeping you engaged. They want you to learn. They want you to do the best you can because they see you every single day. They know you who you are. They know your name, and you're not gonna really get that at any other med school. It's a very rare thing, especially as far as med schools go, because med schools tend to have really large class sizes. It's very rare to see a school like this that has small class sizes. For step one right now. So this summer, I things kind of got sidetracked for me. I finished my Med 5 in April. I was supposed to take my comp exam at the end of April, but COVID caused everything to get delayed. So I had to leave the island early in early April. And then I came back here and we really had no idea when we'd be writing the comp. So this whole summer I've been kind of doing a little bit of studying every single day. And recently, August 13th, yeah, August 14th. August 14th, I wrote the comp. I did it online in my room with a camera on the side, camera at the front. So that was good. That went well. And now I have gotten my application through to process my step date. I'm going to be booking my step date pretty soon. I have made a whole schedule, basically day by day, how I'm going to prepare for the step. It mostly consists of boards and beyond, first aid, and AMBOSS questions currently. And then the second part of it, I'm going to be doing first aid with UWorld questions. This is going to give me, I think, the most exposure to new questions, challenging questions, make me think in different ways, but it'll also allow me to review the material so that I can use that material, keep it fresh because it's been a while since I've really learned it, and then apply that to new novel information. And then every week, on top of all this, every week I'm going to be doing a practice exam, an NBME practice exam, just in order to monitor my progress. And it's kind of something to look forward to. You can see how you are doing, if what you're doing is working for you, and things like that. So yeah, it took me like 7, 8 hours just to make a schedule and like plan out what works best for me, what study strategies would work best, which resources I should use. That is more of a it's more of a personal thing, and going through med school, you're gonna kind of see what works for you and what your strategy of learning is. Everyone has a different strategy of learning. The best way to do really well is to find out how you learn best and take advantage of that. I found that out like probably by Med 4, Med 5, and then I started to tailor my study strategies to that. So hopefully the step strategies that I have created to prepare for my step will come in handy, but again, we'll see. You can't get away from the the hard work. Like two things that are huge for me, in my opinion, are the schedules. I'm doing the same thing every single day, waking up at 6, going to sleep at 10, work out at the same time, play some basketball, whatever, but mostly studying like 10 hours a day. And it's it's those things that are really important. And and another thing is actually when you're studying, study. Don't have your phone beside you. Don't have a Facebook tab open where you're talking to your friends midway studying, because then you like study for a little bit, then you look away and bring your attention away, and then study for a little bit, and then bring your attention away. I saw a lot of people in my class who used to do this, and if you want to do this, then I don't know, it just won't give you the best result. If you want the best result, study when you study, relax when you relax. And then there's like the MUA library is pretty nice. It's a good place to study. I would mostly study at home, but about once or twice a week I would go to the library just to change the environment up. And it is very apparent to the about the people who would repeat comp like term after term. They're never actually in the library. The people who study are actually to go to the library to study are actually sitting there studying. So you don't want to be walking around. You don't want to be like talking to people because it's not going to help you. If you're going to study, sit down and study. Any more questions? Okay. Then I guess I'm going to wrap it up. Anyone else ask any more questions? If not, then it was great doing this. It was fun. Okay, that's going to be all from me then. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to do this. And for anyone who chooses MUA, I think it's a great choice. And good luck in your medical careers and work hard. See ya.